What's happening in Iraq is a disaster. That's how the New York Times began an editorial on Thursday about the sudden insurgent victories and army defections in the country. You know, here in the U.S., there's been little attention paid to Iraq since the troop withdrawal back in 2011. But suddenly, Iraq is dominating the news cycle again. Here we are with the map of Iraq behind us, which makes me as a media reporter think about where we're getting our information about the conflict and how the journalists who covered the U.S. invasion a decade ago feel as they see all this unfold. I know the very best person to ask. He's John Burns, my former colleague at the New York Times. He was based in Baghdad when the war began in 2003, and he was the Baghdad bureau chief from 2004 to 2007. Today, he joins me from Cambridge, England. John, thanks for being here.
It's a pleasure.
How does it feel as one of the many reporters who risked their lives covering this war 10, 11 years ago, to see what's happening now?
Well, certainly most of us were not wise before the event. That's to say, we could not have told you that we foresaw this in the weeks and months up to the American invasion. But very shortly after that invasion, certainly within a year, most of us, I'm inclined to say almost all of us, foresaw this unfolding as a disaster, indeed in unfolding much as it has. Nothing that has happened in the last 72 hours, or for that matter, the last 2 or 3 years since American troops withdrew, I believe has surprised anybody.
I hear you saying that we should have been listening more closely to journalists on the ground.
It seems to me the central lesson, at least of my time there, was that the United States invaded a country to depose a murderous, tyrannical president, which had in the short term many, in fact, beneficial effects for the Iraqi people. But we also discovered too late that this was a deeply fractured society and that the sectarian animosities, not just the ones that have been engendered in the recent years, but ones that go back 1,000 years, were beyond our management. And goodness knows, American ambassadors, American generals, American presidents did everything possible to try and bridge those gaps. It proved to be beyond them. And what we're seeing now, it seems to me, is just an inevitable outgrowth of that.
To hear the word inevitable is really striking to me. I mean, here watching cable news the last few days, you can hear drum beats for airstrikes or for drone strikes. How does that strike you? What is your impression of that possibility?
Well, I think one of the great illusions of all of this has been that these events, and the events next door in Syria, or for that matter, the events in Cairo, or much of the events that we've seen under the Arab Spring, are manageable by the uses of American and particularly Western power.
In discussions in the media over the past few days, have you been hearing echoes of the media mistakes from 2003?
Well, that's a very personal question for me and for a number of others like me who were in Iraq during Saddam's time and in Baghdad.
Certainly, the mistakes were made in Washington. The mistakes were not made so much in Baghdad as they were in Washington, where reporters were taking too seriously the Bush administration line and not seriously enough people who were skeptical.
Well, that's absolutely correct. And the New York Times itself had a miserable experience with that. I think we learned a lot from that. I think it's not going to happen again, certainly not in anything like that fashion. But to speak of the position of people like myself, what mistake did we make? We thought, many of us, that the toppling of Saddam Hussein to end the ghastly brutalities he was visiting upon Iraq wouldn't be a bad idea if it could be accomplished at reasonable cost. Well, it turned out it couldn't be accomplished at reasonable cost, and that the American endeavor there was defeated, and defeated rather early on now as we look back, by the sectarian enmities among the Iraqi people. It was impossible to build a civil society on that shaky, fractured foundation. And I think the mistake we made was, I'm talking here about myself as well as some of my colleagues, not just at the New York Times, but at many publications, was not to understand how deeply fractured that society was, how strongly held those animosities were, and how they would not likely relent under any amount of American tutelage and encouragement.
John Burns, thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Brian, it's a pleasure. Thank you.